Hi, this is about the vice president. J.D. Vance is adopting a risky strategy in his current actions and comments, not to the nation, but to J.D. Vance. J.D.'s got a problem. He's got to prove he's not smarter with his boss while his boss is alive, or consider that he's the boss. Because he kind of is. I mean, he's the only one who can remove Trump with the help of the other members of the cabinet, which they're getting sick of him, I think, with the Elon situation. So, it may be that he's in the driver's seat. Well, he is in the driver's seat. He just has to, make sure that the cabinet's had enough before he actually removes him. But, that's not the cardinal question. The cardinal question is what's he going to do when Trump dies? Because Trump's not going to live for 4 years, so he's going to have to be president. So the question is, and this is the question for the country: is he who he's acting, or is he who he said he was when he said that Donald Trump was a fascist, was a Hitler? Is he a Hitler too? Republicans have a reputation for being conservative personally, meaning that they will say what they need to say to get what they want to get. You can tell this by Republican Supreme Court justices. Half of them are conservative in that they say what they need to say to get promoted, and then suddenly they can say what they want when they get their promotion. You can tell that, and I think Amy Coney Barrett is now reaping the rewards of conservatism and becoming a Sandra Day O'Connor. But what about JD? I mean, JD has got to run for election if and when he becomes president by inheritance. If it happens quickly, then he'll have accomplishments to run on. If it doesn't, he'll have to run on his statements because he'll have no other record, and his actions as vice president, which he'll be tainted with Trump, and he'll just it's like Kamala will win or Nikki will win, such to the extent that he might not even run. So if he's too damaged, Nikki might win the nomination. So yeah, it's because if you're the incumbent and somebody runs against you, both are going to lose. But so Nikki may have to keep her powder dry, and she's probably can do that. But yeah, and she may be if Trump survives, that may be her best bet as a sitting vice president, running against a sitting president. That's just doomed for both people. So yeah, unless JD is like removed. As well, it's just this is talking about JD's options. JD can either bet that MAGA is a serious movement and will remain so, and go as he's going, trying to keep wooing the MAGA base, or he can realize that MAGA's fortunes are falling and be that quiet force behind the scene, stay out of the public eye, be that quiet force behind the scene with the sane Republicans, the people like the Republican whip, and with Thune, because Thune's pretty reasonable, and quietly be the go-to person to get things done. Be more with the chief of staff than with Elon Musk. Be with foreign leaders. Be the person who's okay. He's saying this, but he's we're not going to let him do this. Be the one who controls the chief of staff for operations and the cabinet undersecretaries, because there's a whole structure of life in the government that has nothing to do with the people in front of the camera. If he's in charge of those people, at least the country's better off. If he's Gadfly Part 2 and that's his real self, good riddance in 2029 or 2020. Yeah, 2020. 2029 is when there's going to be a new president. My God, it's a long time from now. But Yeah, Trump's mortality, he and I are both a cheeseburger away, or an ice cream, a chicken nugget away from, you know, exiting the scene. Although I like my cardio profile better than what I've seen of Trump's or heard of Trump's. So mine's pretty clean. But JD has got to decide his own risk profile for his own interest. Again, he can be what he has to do is call Mike Pence and see how Mike did it. Mike ran the show because Mike ran the show. Mike was essentially the president in most things. He let Trump do certain things, but mostly he was the guy who, did the negotiations with the Hill, talked to the cabinet or the government. When people say, we did good things, they're talking about Mike. They're not talking about Donald for the 2020 years, or the 2016, 17 through 2020 years. So that's the question JD has to navigate. That's the terrain, and the only person who really knows how that works is Mike Pence. So if he isn't talking to Mike Pence now, he should. So if he's serious, he is. If he's not serious, then he'll keep parroting Trump. But he needs to fade into the. Mike Pence had a great way of dealing with Trump. He kind of faded out of the public eye. JD needs to do the same thing. So, yeah, that's my Monday morning quarterback pitch. Thanks for listening.